As of August 2025, the Su-75 Checkmate project continues to be characterized more by public relations campaigns and repeated official promises than by demonstrable technical or industrial progress. Launched with great fanfare in 2021, the aircraft was billed as a revolutionary single-engine stealth fighter intended to challenge more established fifth-generation platforms in terms of cost, versatility, and stealth performance. It was envisioned as a cost-effective export platform with broad appeal to international buyers seeking advanced capabilities at a lower price point. However, nearly 4 years later, the project has not moved beyond the initial conceptual stage, and its development has been defined largely by delays, strategic overpromising, and a growing gap between ambition and reality. At its unveiling, the Checkmate was presented as a potential breakthrough in Russian military aviation, a single-engine jet featuring stealth shaping, internal weapons bays, advanced avionics, and modular design to allow for flexible upgrades. The aircraft was marketed as being capable of networked warfare, high maneuverability, long-range engagements, and low radar cross-section. It was also supposed to integrate artificial intelligence and unmanned capability in future variants. These claims painted a picture of an aircraft that, on paper, would be competitive with or superior to other fifth-generation fighters in its category. Yet, despite this marketing effort, there remains no publicly confirmed working prototype, no evidence of a successful taxi run, no testing documentation, and certainly no flight. Repeated timelines announced by officials have been missed. Originally, the first flight was slated for 2023. As that deadline passed, new estimates suggested 2024, then 2025. Now, projections for a maiden flight have been pushed toward the end of 2025 or possibly even 2026. These shifting deadlines, unaccompanied by verifiable technical developments, have led to widespread skepticism, even among audiences that might otherwise be supportive or sympathetic to the program's goals. Without a flying prototype, the aircraft cannot proceed to systems integration, flight testing, weapons validation, or serial production, all of which are essential steps before operational deployment or foreign sales. The causes of this stagnation are multifaceted and systemic. Technologically, Russia's domestic aerospace industry faces profound limitations in several key areas. The production of high-performance jet engines, radar systems, electronic warfare suites, and mission computers all require specialized components, many of which were traditionally sourced or supported via international cooperation or imports. The imposition of sanctions and export controls has heavily disrupted this supply chain. Attempts to substitute foreign components with domestic alternatives have proven difficult and slow. These components are not simply replaceable, they require years of research and high-precision manufacturing infrastructure, much of which is not readily available in the current domestic environment. Furthermore, economic and political realities have compounded the difficulty. With a substantial portion of the national budget redirected towards supporting ongoing military operations and internal priorities, funding for experimental or long-term defense projects has been reduced or delayed. Military planners appear to be focusing resources on platforms and systems that offer immediate operational benefit, leaving next-generation projects like the Su-75 in a lower priority category. This reprioritization is understandable from a short-term strategic perspective but undermines the sustainability of advanced research and development programs. From an industrial perspective, the production infrastructure for advanced combat aircraft is also under strain. The assembly plants and aerospace facilities involved in the Su-75 project are already committed to other programs, including maintenance and limited production runs of legacy platforms. There is no indication that large-scale retooling or dedicated infrastructure for Su-75 production has begun. The lack of visible movement on production lines, tooling, or pre-serial manufacturing suggests that even if a prototype were to fly in the next 12 to 18 months, there would still be several years of work required before any meaningful production could begin. Externally, the project has failed to secure international buyers. In the early stages of the program, it was widely speculated that several foreign governments might invest in or co-develop the aircraft, providing both financial resources and political legitimacy. However, no country has committed to such a partnership. The absence of foreign contracts or expressions of serious interest is a critical setback, particularly for a program marketed primarily as an export fighter. Without external funding or demand, the burden of development and production falls entirely on domestic resources, which appear increasingly overstretched. The promotional efforts around the Checkmate have continued nonetheless. The same physical mock-up has appeared at multiple airshows and expos, occasionally repainted or placed in new lighting conditions to suggest updates. These appearances have become formulaic, often accompanied by vague declarations from officials about future milestones or the superiority of Russian engineering. However, the repetition of these narratives, in the absence of visible progress, has contributed to growing doubt both domestically and internationally. Observers and analysts have begun to treat the aircraft less as a real project and more as a symbolic gesture, one meant to signal intent or defiance rather than actual capability. Technically, no reliable data has been published regarding performance parameters based on real-world testing. Claims about engine thrust, radar cross-section, weapons payload, and avionics integration remain speculative and unverified. Theoretical schematics and computer renderings have been used in promotional materials, but these are not substitutes for functioning prototypes and hard data. Without real testing, no conclusions can be drawn about the jet's stability, reliability, sensor fusion, or survivability in contested airspace. The Su-75 Checkmate project is presently a stalled and unproven concept. Its continued public promotion contrasts sharply with the absence of development milestones. It remains a mock-up, supported more by political necessity than engineering momentum. The project has not met any of its original targets. There is no clear path to operational status, and no indication that the aircraft will enter service in the foreseeable future. What was introduced as a bold, forward-looking symbol of technological confidence has become a case study in overpromising, under-delivering, and the challenges of sustaining high-end aerospace programs under conditions of isolation, limited funding, and industrial constraints.